Welcome to my channel. My name is Wes. Again, this is Chapter Thor. So, as I was saying in my introduction video, this video is going to be about self-development as well as semen retention, as well as sobriety, connecting to God, and being the best people we can be, okay? So I'm going to touch on a lot of these subjects in different videos, but in this video, I'm going to touch base on my backstory, okay? So why I've named this channel ChapterThor and why I'm calling this part of my life ChapterThor. Okay, so I've been in 3 serious relationships, and the first one would be my first marriage. And I think I got married when I was 21. It was a narcissistic relationship. We got lots of fights, which should have been red flags before we even got married. And then after we got married, it was arguments, lots of arguments, the bare minimum, excessive spending. You know, when I'm working all this overtime, she's constantly racking up her debt. And then I'm coming home to a dirty home, all this extra stuff that I have to take care of. She would bring home pets without even consenting me. Anyways, I didn't see past these red flags. We ended up getting married, and the marriage only lasted a year. There was just more red flags, more arguing. I was starting to become a person that I am not. I'm an introverted person. I'm a non-confrontational person. I'm really chill. So if you're in my friend circle or your family, you know that I generally don't like confrontation. I'd rather just leave the situation or talk, verbally communicate through the situation. Anyways, I reached out several different times to her grandparents, who raised her, which could be part of her childhood trauma, her parents just not being in her life. And she just had no appreciation for me. At one point, she threw her engagement ring in the street gutter over a little fight, and alcohol and the devil's lettuce, if you know what I'm talking about, was very prominent in our relationship. And I could just see that I didn't want to move forward and mate, which is generally what happens after you get married. You start to build a family. I see myself becoming a person that I'm not, and I don't want to build I don't want to build a family on this relationship when I don't feel that it's going to be a family worth building. So, long story short, I ended up divorcing her. Thankfully, it was short enough that I didn't have to do any alimony or child support, so there was no real property in there. We didn't have a home at that point. So I ended up moving out into my parents' house, and then shortly after moving in with one of my best friends. Not at the time, but we ended up becoming best friends through our roommate situation. And then so I lived with him, I think, over a year, probably about a year and a half. And then in that time, I had met my second wife, but at that time, when I first met her, I met her at a baby shower, and she was already married. She was married. She had been married for years, and she had two kids with her husband, so I didn't think anything of it. Well, later on, my friends ended up getting an apartment across from me, and then, we have several encounters, and then later on, she ends up things start not working out with her and her husband, and she's, seeking validation on social media. So I reach out to her. I'm like, hey, everything's all right. And then we ended up connecting, and then she said that, things aren't working out. I'm living in my kid's bedroom. But at this point, I didn't realize that she was monkey branching. Okay, so monkey branching is before you leave a relationship, you reach out to see if there is a potential relationship that you could move into. So that way you don't face what you left. You know what I'm saying? You're finding a better option, so that way you don't have to deal with what you're leaving. So I didn't realize that at the time. I don't know how much truth it was that she was having with her ex-husband, and they hadn't even moved the wheels yet on divorce. Well, anyways, she ends up moving out. She does end up moving out, moving into her parents' house, and she puts through the divorce paperwork. They end up going through divorce, and then we end up hitting it off at our mutual friend's birthday dinner, and we really hit it off. So for my second wife, I fell in love. Okay, so since the moment I saw her at the baby shower and she was married, I felt some energy. You know, I can't explain it if you've never felt it, but I felt like this love energy, like a general attraction towards her personality, towards it was almost next dimensional, you know, like fifth dimension. I don't even know how to explain it, but I just felt this since I met her, but I never pursued it because I have that respect for marriage, and she had kids, and I'm not a home wrecker. So things went south, and then we ended up hitting it off at my friend's birthday dinner, and then we ended up actually hooking up that night, which we had talked back and forth saying that that's not what we want. But things, when you feel this connection with something, when you feel this connection with somebody, things just move in a way that you feel like it should move. It should move naturally, and I just felt this passion and love connection with her energy. And then later down the road, she moves in, and then we end up getting married. Okay, so we end up having 3 kids, but we lost our first child due to heart complications. A really sad story. I don't really want to get into that in this video. But after our first child, it felt like, I don't know if it was postpartum depression or whatever, it might be childhood trauma, but it felt like I was really starting to experience the true her. Okay, she was giving the bare minimum. The house wasn't being cleaned. She was barely taking care of our child together on her own, while I'm at work. And at that time, I think we had a dog too. And I'm having to work 8 to 10, maybe 12 hours, sometimes weekends, and then coming home to a filthy house, having to share all the responsibilities of taking care of my kid as well as her kids, and then no cooked meals, like probably once a week, maybe twice a week, a cooked meal. Other than that, I was pretty much on my own. So I think several times a week I was just buying lunch at work because, I was not getting any meals to take to work or anything. So I was just really starting to lose this attraction towards her. Like, I still loved her. Like, I still loved her energy, and I wanted to make things work. And I communicated with her several times, like, hey, I'm at work. I'm working a lot of hours. I'm working overtime. Like, I need your help. I need you to take care of the house, take care of the kids, the laundry, take care of the dog especially when I'm not home. And it was always like, yeah, I understand and I'll take care of it. But, that lasted about a week, and then it was just right back into the same habits. So later we pushed through it. I ended up selling that house because it's my first house that I bought before we got together. It was a really small house, only 2 bedroom, 1 bath. And she had 2 kids prior, and then we had a kid together. So it was just becoming a really small house. The house was not even 1,000 square feet. It did have a detached garage, but that only was great for when we had friends over or family. Kind of like it was kind of more of like a man cave, like a party cave, where you would hang out and drink. At that time, we were smoking hookah and stuff like that. So it was like fun for entertainment purposes, but not like really living and, like hanging out in there as a family. So I ended up getting a new house, and the problems just rolled over. It was just less and less I felt like was being done on her behalf, and I just kind of grew this distaste, this lost connection towards her. And well, I kept pushing through it. I told her to get a job, so she got a part-time job. And it just didn't seem like things were working that great. But her ex-husband had an idea of moving to Idaho, because we live in California. And at that time, this was 2016, I think. Economy wasn't great. And then it was just a new election cycle, so economy was starting to pick up. And I knew I was going to get a really big bonus at work. So I told her, I was like, we're 8 months into our new home. And I said, we still have the equity in the home. We could still resell the house. And I'm getting a big bonus. So if you want to move to Idaho, which seemed like a better situation for raising a family, low crime, more family oriented, lots of nature, just more, because I grew up camping and stuff, so I liked the nature aspects of it, the outdoors stuff. So I said, hey, I'm all for it. Like, if your ex-husband wants to move up there with his family, and then we can move up and buy another house up there, I'm all for it. So we ended up moving up there, and the things just kind of rolled up there. We had our second child. So when we moved up there, she was like 7 or 8 months pregnant. We ended up having our second child up there, and same thing. We ended up buying a house, just like low effort, nothing. Well, she ends up getting a job, and then she doesn't want to get a job, but I kind of forced her into getting a job because she's not doing anything around the house, just kind of wasting, racking up the energy bill being at home. So we work it out to our shifts where she can work a part-time job. And she ends up working a part-time job, but then she ends up going to school to become I forget what they call it, but it's where you take care of old people and, people that can't take care of themselves. Well, she ends up, a guy ends up working there, and I think they started to build a connection, because then at that point she wanted to open up the relationship. Okay, mind you, before she wanted to open up the relationship, she started getting in shape. We'd gotten a gym membership, and she was working out a lot, and I had no idea about this other guy. And then she wants to open up the relationship out of the blue one day. She's like, hey, would you be open to like doing an open relationship as long as we set boundaries? And it's like, in my head as a guy, I'm thinking, okay, another partner, as long as we have boundaries, we come back, we know who's at home, we know where our love is, whatever, get out, whatever we need to get out, and then get back. Cool. I thought, this might be interesting. But come to find out, she already had somebody lined up. And it just hurt, to hear that. So anyways, we had agreed upon it, and she had started having her almost weekly, I think it was like every other week, hookups. Mind you, the person that I was even considering was like 1,000 miles away, so I didn't have anybody right away. So I'm just taking care of the family at home while she's going there getting her back broken. and then coming home. And so she's coming home all the time throughout the week with low energy. She just wants to sleep, doesn't want to. Seems like we really lost the relationship at that point. And I end up, through dating apps, finally having a hookup, which didn't feel good. I felt completely terrible. I felt like I had wronged my wife. I don't know, it just wasn't good. And plus the encounter wasn't great. The girl that I ended up hooking up with just, I don't know, there was just no connection, I guess. So then I ended up finding another girl, which I did end up building up a connection for like a month prior to our meeting. So then we'd kind of hit it off, we went out on a dinner and then went to her place after and hooked up. Well, I think it finally hit home for my now second wife, ex. And then, yeah, so it just, as you can see, things just started to go south from there. And she ended up hooking up with a guy that she didn't tell me about for like 6 hours. Like, she was gone for like half a day almost. It seemed like, I think it was 6 hours. And then I found out because she wasn't good at keeping her location off of Google. So I'd go on Google to see where she was. So I knew the addresses, the places that she was going to. And I didn't, I'd never let her know, but I just, I wanted to make sure that I knew where she was in case something went bad. And so I had found out, and it just really hurt me. It really hurt me that she would go. And then she even admitted, like, yeah, we were just doing it for 6 hours straight. Like that even hurt me more because, like I said, she was coming home with no energy. Our sex was like almost pity sex, felt like. And then yeah. So I pushed through a divorce. We separated, and then later I ended up getting into another relationship. But I told her from the get-go, I told this third girl, I said, I don't want a relationship. I don't want more kids. I don't want marriage. So I let her know the boundaries straight up because I don't want multiple baby mamas and I don't want to get married again. Like, going through marriage, the whole legal process, and then, having another wedding, like, how embarrassing, to have more than two. So I told her from the get-go. Well, anyways, this person ends up being a covert narcissist, okay? So I had no idea what a narcissist was prior, but she came in and love bombed me. She, pretty much gave me all the love, the bed love that I wanted. She was very active in that aspect. Very, I wouldn't say active, but she loved, that aspect of it. And which, at that time was great. But, that's not everything. And when you're connecting with people, there's more to it. There's personality, there's, a connection. And so she slowly starts to push her boundaries, and she, one day just brings all her stuff over to my house and kind of nonchalantly moves in. And I'm like, hey, what's going on? She's like, well, I'm already over here all the time. Might as well just, stay here. And it's like, whatever. And then she's slowly like pushing the boundaries, like, aren't we gonna be in a relationship? Like, she's like telling people like we're boyfriend and girlfriend. And then I'm like, you know what, like, I told you this from the get-go. She's like, what? But don't we like each other? Don't this and that and the other? I'm like, I told you this from the get-go that I don't want a relationship. I don't want status. I don't want kids. I don't want marriage. So if this is something you're seeking, then you should go and you should find somebody else. And she's like, no, we really like each other, but who knows down the road. And like, I'm bypassing these red flags, pushing the boundaries. She's just trying to see how much control she gets in. So then she she'd moved in, and she slowly starts decorating, changing my home. That's what they do. They come in and they start changing your home, and they leave stuff there. I'm sure a lot of guys have experienced it when they have somebody come over and they just find random things like a bra or panties or hair clips or a thermos or something. It's so that they can keep their foot in the door, so that they have a reason, excuse to come back, or for you to reach out to them. Okay. Well, she was doing this. She was bringing over a whole bunch of stuff and starts decorating my house, and it does look amazing. My house was very bare and empty. It was just me. I had a really big house, like almost 3,200 square feet. 4-bedroom, 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath, really big house for just me and my 2 girls. And so she's slowly building up my house. And so then it gets to a point where I'm like, like I had this dream of building up a camper van. I said, why don't I just sell the house? We move into your parents' house, which was just a few blocks over. They had a whole upstairs that wasn't being occupied. I said, why don't I move in there? We save, we just pay a little bit of rent, less than what we're paying in the mortgage. And we just build up a camper van. At that point, I think we were already over a year in together. And she's like, yeah, I'm all for that. You know what they do? They love bomb. Your dreams are their dreams. And so we end up getting a camper, an old utility truck that we're going to convert. And after I sell the house, I started investing in all this stuff to build up this camper van. And some of the things that I started to experience when we moved into her parents' house, I started to really discover the real her. She really started digging her claws in, having more control over everything, over the kids' school, over what they should be doing at their mom's house, over their nightly routines, how much food they need to eat, just all this stuff that was kind of hypocritical because she wasn't doing herself. And it got to the point where I started to notice this stuff, but I was still like trying to make it work. And it got to the point where I had taken back over the laundry for my kids because it was just becoming a constant, in my ear problem about their laundry. They need to put their clothes back that they're not going to wear and this and that. I said, you know what, they're my kids. Why don't I just do the laundry and I'll take care of it? Because if I'm working, I can't be doing both. I work or I take care of that part of, my kids. Like if we're going to share responsibility, like you should be taking care of the kids while I'm working and vice versa. And it was always interrupting my work over it. And so I said, you know what, I'm just going to do it. So I just started taking over the laundry. She wouldn't even let me do that. She interrupted, came and dug out all these clothes out of the dirty hamper and was like, they need to fold these and put these back in the drawers and hang them up and this and that and the other. And why are you, I forget the term that she used, but basically superseding her word, and I was like, I'm not superseding your word. I've gotten on these kids about the same situation, but these clothes had been all over the dirty floor, so I just need to wash them anyways because they're dirty. The floor is all gross. They had already been on the floor for I think a day or a couple days. And who knows how many people had stepped on them. So it was a point where I was like, you know what, these clothes just need to be washed anyways, and then I'm going to handle it from that point on. But she just couldn't have it. So at this point, I realized she had actually pulled me into the bedroom and got in my face. And at this point, I don't know if you've ever faced a narcissist like in an argument, but you see a demon come out. Like I can't even explain it. It was the first time that she had pulled me and then got in my face and then yelled at me because of fucking laundry. Excuse my language. Because of laundry, okay? She got in my face and she says, dude, I don't even want to react to it, but it was just like, I got goosebumps. Like, at that time when she was yelling at me, I had goosebumps because her eyes just turned black. And she just got in my face and she was just like, you know, just like, I was like, whoa, I have never seen this person before, and this is toxic. This is not what I want. So, and she, at this point, she was like calling me husband in front of people, and she was wearing, I confronted her on a ring that she had on her ring finger that was allegedly just a promise ring to herself. Who knows what it was from. But she was telling people we were married and all this and that, and lying about her age and weight and all this crap. Like, sorry, but I'm an honest person. Like, I don't need to lie about any of that stuff, you know, whatever. So I had arranged, my kids were going to go visit their mom in California. And I had arranged with my parents, like, I need to get out. This is probably the second or third time that I had called them saying, you know, like, this is bad, the relationship's bad, that I need to get out, and I don't feel like I can get out. Because we just had so much together. We had business together, insurance, you know, life insurance business together. I had started my skincare business with her. Just all this stuff just seems so entangled and impossible to get out. So if you're trying to get out of a narcissistic relationship, you need to be very smart about it, because it can turn violent. It can turn, who knows, self-destructive. You need to have a plan, okay? A plan that hopefully cannot involve kids, okay? So I had planned for my kids to go spend the summer with their mom in California. And at that point, I had arranged with my dad to move out of her parents' house. Okay, I had lined up a moving truck. I told my dad, I said, hey, whatever we can fit in that moving truck, I am okay with. I will lose. I don't care about anything else. My happiness, my peace, and my kids are the only important thing in my life that I care about. And it is destroying me internally every single day. It felt like Office Space. Every day is the worst day, you know. It felt like every day moving was the worst day. And holidays, birthdays, always a, you know, a fight. I keep wanting to drop the F-bomb, but I don't know who's watching. And every single holiday there always had to be a fight. And it's like, why? You know, why? Like, we're adults. Like, let's, over nothing. And so I had planned for him to come up. I had a plane ticket. I had a moving truck. While my ex, oh yeah, so while she had moved into my house, she has horses, by the way. One day she had just dropped the bomb, like, oh, I can't, you know, I don't have the money to pay for my horses. Do you think you can cover me? So that one time of covering her stable horse cost ended up being 2 years of covering her horse stable costs, which ended up increasing because she ruined relationships with the stables that she was at, because she went in narcissistic rage and ended up getting kicked out. So one day, the day came shortly after my birthday, and my dad showed up with the moving truck, and I walked in the bedroom and I said, I'm out. Like, that's it. My dad's here. We're moving. Get my stuff and get out. It was so bad. I had to move all by myself because my dad was not allowed in the house. And then, it was just a very terrible experience. So Idaho is an open carry as well as concealed carry state. You don't need a permit or anything like that. So I did not know how things were going to go. And I know her family was very protected in that aspect, well armed. And I didn't know how they were going to take it. And so I concealed carried just in case, to protect my life or my dad's life. Okay, I had no intention of ever using it. I just wanted to have that defense just in case. So I had my concealed carry on me the whole time, and I'm moving out and everything. And thank God I never had to, even show it. But I was able to get quite a bit, but she constantly stopped me at every turn. Why are you doing this? Why, it can be fixed. We can fix this. And I'm like, we've already talked about this so many times. Like, if you don't understand why I'm leaving you, then you have bigger problems. Like, you have trauma. You are in denial. So yeah, I ended up moving out to, moving back to my parents in California. And I knew I had to move out of state, because if I were to move anywhere within driving distance, that she was going to show up unannounced. She was going to try to reinsert herself right back into my life, my kids' life. Who knows? I'm just so thankful that I was able to plan this while the kids weren't there. So anyways, that is first, second, third chapter of my life. This is chapter 4. Chapter 4, I'll tell you what chapter 4 looks like. It's self-developing. I'm building up my skincare business. I also do marketing and web design. I'm doing that. And then also I want to create content to help people just like you and me that are going through these modern women relationships, or even modern man relationships. There are narcissistic men out there. And also getting sobriety. So this channel is going to have some sobriety on it. I am over 4 years sober. No alcohol. I didn't have a problem. I just felt like it wasn't a life that I wanted to live. Okay. I felt like I had a lot of regret. I made a lot of bad decisions when I drank. And I didn't want every single occasion in front of my kids to be an event that involved drinking and making bad decisions, maybe putting my kids' lives in jeopardy. I didn't want that to happen, and I knew I couldn't be my best self when I drink. So I am 4+ years sober as of October. We're now almost January. It's just after Christmas 2024. So I'm over 4 years as of October sober. I quit smoking the devil's lettuce or weed a while ago, I think in April or May. So I am 8 to 9 months. Is that 8 months sober on that. I don't have no intention of ever doing that again. And then now, since I've been back, so I left my narcissistic ex in July. We're now in December. And I've been, developing myself. I have several projects that I'm working on. But I've just kind of felt this, like unknowing, like what my purpose is. Like, is this my purpose to build up organic skincare? Is it my purpose to do marketing, online marketing? Is it my purpose to web design? Like, what is my purpose? And then it wasn't just recently until I found semen retention. Okay. Now, if you don't know what semen retention is, I highly encourage you to look into it, but there's massive benefits. So the first time I just started a journey not too long ago, and I got up to 10 days, but it was before I actually looked into semen retention. I just knew that quitting porn and quitting, quitting corn. Yeah, that's what I said, right? Corn. And quitting masturbation and orgasm and stuff like that had all sorts of benefits, okay? I just didn't look into it. Well, I ended up relapsing after 10 days. And I didn't relapse good. I relapsed hard, like multiple times. And I knew I felt very shameful, very regretful. So I ended up looking into videos, and I just found that I found more and more information on it and more videos. And now that I have found all that information from all these other people that are talking about how it improves your life, how it improves your connection with God, how it builds up your energy, and how you get the vitamins and nutrients and minerals through the life force, which is your semen and sperm, and how it improves your skin and your hair growth and stuff like that, that I started another journey. Okay, so I am actually, I think, 8 days now, and so I'm going to kind of go through my case study here and kind of tell you how my life improves. Now, I do think there's benefits to women as well. I think that women are just as bad, and while they might not all watch porn, playing with their clitoris or toys and stuff is also, they're also ruining their own energy, I believe. I think if they were to abstain from any sort of orgasm or foreplay or playing with themselves and kind of go a more clean and holy way, I guess, it would improve their energy. And naturally, the energies would attract each other, and then you could be great partners. Okay, so this is my personal opinion. I think, while I don't think any other content creators are talking about it, I think that women can get just as much benefits as men do through semen retention as they would through abstaining from masturbation and porn and orgasm from from foreplay or hooking up with lots of men. Okay, I feel like they really could improve their skin, their hair growth, their energy, brain fog, depression, anxiety. I'll tell you what, I am 8 days in, and I think about after 6th day or the 7th day, I had a noticeable improvement over anxiety and depression. Like, I was waking up feeling so lonely that I don't have a partner, that I don't have a purpose, that it's just a constant grind all the time, that I'm going an uphill battle. And since I started this second round of semen retention, I've noticed that immediately I'm starting to build confidence. I don't have that anxiety, that loneliness, and that depression that I was having. And I feel like I have purpose now. And I'm a lot of content creators say not to count the days, but I feel like the first few milestones are probably the time that you do want to see what is happening, what changes are happening. And I think really the first milestone is your first week is 7 days, and then probably halfway through that 14 days. And then I think the big first milestone, the first big milestone that's big is the 30 day, because that's when you have done almost your first whole reset. And it might be lunar, it might have to do with the cycles of the moon, and it might be more than that. But I guess the next big milestone after that is 90 days or 100 days, or 90 to 100 days. So, I feel like these first milestones you should really pay attention to. And then after you hit those milestones, then it's just a way of life. You can stop counting. Okay. So that's how I see it. That's what I'm looking forward to. I'm not seeking another partner. I'm not seeking a relationship. I'm not seeking sex. I'm not seeking validation. My only goal right now in life is to become the best person I can become, and abstain from all those harmful things that ruin our health. And I've been going to the gym a lot. I'm sober, and I have business that I'm building up. So that's kind of my journey. And I think men and women alike should start this journey. And if you like this content, please subscribe, hit that like button, and I'll see you in the next video.